Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Afro Millennial. Today we are going to discuss some mistakes African Americans make when moving or when making the decision to move from the United States to make their home in a West African country. This video or the points I bring up in this video can apply to moving anywhere in the world or on the continent, but I'm going to keep this video specifically to West Africa because that's where we see the most movement to. Remember to stick around till the end of the video where I'll give a bonus point in addition to the three points I'm going to talk about in this video. So, the first mistake African Americans make when moving to West Africa is that they do not do enough research. So when traveling, when moving out of your country, it's one thing going for a vacation, like you look at flight prices, you book your flights, you book a hotel, you do all that. But then packing up your belongings and moving from the US demands a lot more research than that. The social, economic landscape, political is different in West Africa, to be precise, is different from what is here in the United States. So to be able to move and settle nicely, you'd have to do a lot of research. And then most African Americans don't do this. They research Airbnb prices, hotel prices, but they don't go deep enough to know the reality on the ground. So things you should be looking up when you're doing your research is cost of living. The cost of living in big cities in West African countries can be very high. Take Accra, for example. The cost of living, when it comes to housing, transportation, it can get so high that even with US dollars, you're going to have trouble keeping up. So what you should be looking out for is housing. Where will you stay? How much are you paying for housing? In Ghana, I know most of these landlords take 2 years upfront, like 2 years in advance, your rent 1 to 2 years in advance. So you have to prepare for that. You have to budget for that when you are going, if you are going to stay for longer periods. If you're going to stay for just a few weeks, then that's not a big problem because you can get an Airbnb or a hotel and then you're fine. But if you're planning to move and stay there, then you have to consider all these things. What's the cost of food? Where are you going to get your food from? Transport, health. What are your plans for health insurance? How do you take care of your healthcare? Like look at the healthcare system in the country you want to move to and know all these things ahead of time because these are basic things that you are going to need when you move. So these are the things you should be really digging into and looking at before you decide to move. Another mistake that African Americans make when making the decision to move to a West African country is that they do not contact the African American community over there. So whichever country you want to go to, other African Americans might have already moved there before you. So the thing to do is to contact them, let them tell you. And then when I say other African Americans, yes, you can watch YouTube, you can watch social media, celebrities moving, but you don't compare your move to the move of a celebrity because a celebrity, even in the US, their lifestyle is different from yours. So if you are looking at people like that to make your decision, then you're not going to set very realistic expectations or goals, or you're not going to plan properly, right? So what you're going to do, or what you should do, is to reach out to people who have similar backgrounds to you. I know there are a lot of people on social media who share their experiences. So once you identify someone whose story or whose journey looks like what you want to go on, maybe the person has kids, you have kids, the person is a single woman, you're a single woman, make the kind of connections, those kinds of connections are going to help you the most. Because if you just depend on general information, you're going to find yourself lacking when you go. It's not guaranteed. I'm not trying to scare you off, but I'm trying to make sure you have the right information before you make such a big decision to move countries. One other mistake African Americans make when moving to the US or when planning to move to the US is that they expect African countries to be an extension of what the US is. And that's not the case. African countries are like, even among African countries, there are so many differences. So moving from the US to an African country, you're going to experience some cultural shocks, like very different ways of doing things that might not sit well with you. So you should know all these things, like different ways of looking at things. Let's say gender roles, right? In Africa, you're going to see the traditional gender roles playing out more. So if you're not used to that, that's not going to sit well with you. And then you have to know how to navigate all these things before you move there, because if you're going to live among the people, then you're going to interact with them. And these are things that you're going to see. So if you want to live comfortably and peacefully over there, you have to know all these things and prepare your mind. As it's a mindset, then prepare your mind before you go and live there. Also, government institutions, you're going to have a shock in dealing with government institutions. Not only the bureaucracy, you're going to experience some corruption. Yes, I know people will come for me in the comment section for saying this, but you're going to experience some corruption which you are not used to in the United States. People refusing to do what they have to do until you give them something. It can be so frustrating, right? If you're not used to it, but then if you are used to it, or if you are prepared to see something like that, you're not going to feel as frustrated as you'd be if you were not prepared to meet people like that who would want to take something from you, just do what they are supposed to do for you in the first place anyway. And yeah, so getting paperwork done can be very slow, and things might not move as fast as you are used to. And this is something I think you should prepare for. So in West African countries, you're going to see that the people are more relaxed. In the US, everybody is like going here, it's busy, moving. Things are not as fast as they are in the in African countries. So I think that has two sides. If you are going to West Africa because you want the relaxed atmosphere, like you don't want the rush, you're tired of the rush going on in the United States, going here, like the vicious cycle, you're always moving. If you're tired of that and you want to move to an African country because of that, then that's going to serve you well. But if you're going to do business and you're expecting everything to be fast, 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 you're going to get a shock. So I think this is something you should prepare for ahead of time. Prepare your mind that these people are different. They are not in a hurry. They are not going everywhere in a hurry. Yes, maybe in the big cities you're going to see people doing that, but in the smaller towns and cities you won't see that kind of rush. And I think that's something you should prepare for, because it can come as a shock. On the bonus points I'm going to give, one mistake African Americans make is that they don't plan enough when they are moving. It's like a romantic thing. Most of this, the mass migration started happening after 2019, when Ghana had the year of return, and then people heard about it and people started moving, and they heard stories of people who had moved. And then the next year there was a pandemic and money came in form of stimulus checks, and people thought, oh, I don't even like living in the US. I can work remotely, I can move, and they just started moving. And then there was a lot of disappointment, and we heard all that. Before you make such a decision, it's not a romantic getaway, it's not a vacation. It's a whole life shift. You're picking up your life and settling somewhere else, right? So you have to know how long you're going to stay. Are you planning to stay for years, 5 years or more? If you have children, are you going with your kids? You have to think of where they are going to get educated. The public school system in African countries is not like the system in the US. You have to plan ahead of time. You have to know which schools your kids will go to. Talk to people who have kids over there. Make plans, because there, if you want your child to go to a private school, well, like here too, you have to pay upfront, and it's not peanuts. You have to pay quite some amount to get the kind of education or the standard of education you would want your child to get, learn the things you want them to learn, right? And also, if you're moving there for a long time, you have to think about your income source. Are you working in the US and then just going remote, so you're going to keep your job and work from whichever country you're going to? Are you going to start a business? I saw a video, which I'll leave a link to in the channel, of someone who had moved and was giving his advice. Like, I like to see these videos and then share with people who I think might need this information, because that's what I'm here for, right? Just to give information for you to make the best decisions. So in this video, this guy who has lived in Ghana for quite a while, he's African American, and he seems to be doing well in Ghana. He's settled nicely. He's even speaking some of the local language he's speaking. You can hear the Ghanaianness in his speech. He was talking about needing about 30,000 US dollars a year if you want to live comfortably in Ghana as an African American. You want to have good housing, good schools for your kids, proper food, and all that. Just know all the things you need and plan for how to get them right in advance. And also, I would say visit first. Don't follow someone's romantic experience in Ghana, like everything is going well here, all is well and good, and then you pack up and then just go and move straight ahead. I think you should visit not just once, at least twice. Like if you go to Ghana, specifically Ghana, I think in all other countries, if you visit in December, because of the holiday festivities, you're going to have a different perspective than if you move or if you visit in the middle of the year, say July, August, or something like that, where nothing is really going on. So yes, you might want to go in December, have the fun and all that, but don't make your decision based on all the fun you have in December. Try to visit during the different time or different parts of the year, maybe in the middle of the year. Or if you stay in December, wait till the end of January where everything dies down, just to know how things are on a normal day. Not these are things I think people should do before taking the bold step of moving to a completely different terrain, a different geographic location like that, because everything is different. Please leave a comment in the comment section down below if you think there's a point I left out, or if based on your experience there are some mistakes you made that you would like to share with other people planning to make the move. Please do that, and let's all benefit from each other's experiences. So yes, this is where I'll end today's episode. I hope you got something from this video. Please like the video, share to people who you think might benefit from this video, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you again for being on today's episode. I hope to see you on the next episode of the Afro Millennial. Bye bye.